Well, good morning, everyone. As I mentioned, it is day one of Field Trips Week. We are driving down beautiful Napa Valley. Oh, there's Corson Winery. Hello. And we're turning and back on the road. Okay, so I am heading down to pick up Carey. I've got Jodi in the car with me right now, and we've got a pretty exciting day ahead of us. Stay tuned. All right, I'm in the car. I've got the two SOMMs. Here they are.
Somm number one.
Somm number one, Somm number two, in no particular order, but we are we are on day one of Field Trips Week, and we're heading up to Mayacamas. And have you guys been before?
I've been, yes.
Carey?
Not, unfortunately.
Oh, yes. Virgin Mayacamas goer. Mayacamas is super cool, one of the older wineries and properties in Napa Valley, and a lot of history up there. So I felt like it was a very appropriate start to our week, and having just arrived from the East Coast, both of you guys, well, Jodi by way of Fiji, she's very fancy. We're gonna go up there, and you guys are gonna come along, and it's gonna be awesome. Awesome.
So if you haven't seen pictures before, you won't even notice.
Yeah.
Is that what it's like marked by this kind of like
Yes.
discoloration?
That was a 9-bedroom house, and it was apparently quite statuesque. These were vines that burned down, so we had to do some replanting.
So we made it to Mayacamas. The wines stylistically are very consistent. They haven't really changed over the decades. In 2012, the Schottenstein family purchased the property, and a lot of people were a little bit nervous about what was going to happen to Mayacamas. They weren't sure if the style was going to remain consistent. They weren't sure if things were going to change, because this really was sort of an iconic place. I'm happy to report that things really have stayed mostly the same.
These are the concrete fermentation tanks that we still use today with gravity feed into everything. We spent about 20 days on the fermentation here. Everything's still picked at 23 bricks. So the tailors were the ones that installed these in.
So you're picking everything at 23 bricks?
Yes. It's not a perfect science depending on what's happening and kind of what they're looking for, but that's the aim, is 23 bricks. Everyone was very nervous. Andy Erickson took over the winery, and they thought he was going to just fill this place with new oak, and that's not what's happened at all. So I'll show you kind of what still stands here. But the Chardonnay is really neat. This spends a year in stainless, a year in neutral barrel, and the rest in bottle. We inhibit mallow. Let it be an all-natural winery.
There's no mallow on this?
No mallow. Still intact. These are 50 to 100-year-old redwood barrels. Someone posted a picture of like these barrels, and everyone got really nervous that these had gone away. And these are here, and they're staying, baby. We only got rid of one when Andy took over, and that was because it was incredibly moldy. If you talk to Andy, if you talk to Braden, the thing that they get most sentimental about is this ladder, which has been here since the Taylors.
Wow.
So Andy gets really sentimental that this is a ladder Bob Taylor used to use, and Travers in Sessions, and now it's the one that he and Braden get to use.
So it's pretty
I'm
cool.
not going to step on it though.
Yeah. It's dark, and then it's light.
So these go that way to here. It's kind of hot right now, but pretty neat.
Cool. It's awesome.
Yeah, there's no one trace
that
that.
Wow.
I mean, it's still damp and dirty in here. Don't get me wrong, but it's not. They had bats in here.
Well, they're pollinators.
It's,
Look at the pulley system up there. Oh, that's really dynamite.
years in redwoods, 1 year neutral, and the rest in bottle. And we always wait 5 years for release. So we just released the 14 Merlot Tab.
There's no cement. I thought I read that there was some cement fermentation.
That's the
We just saw the red
The redwood.
Yeah.
No. The red cement
Yeah.
in the other room.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was it.
Okay.
Yeah, you saw it, the fermentation tanks. And and they gravity feed down.
So you said 2 years there, 2 years.
2 years in the redwood, 1 year in the neutral barrel, and then the rest in bottle.
And fermentation.
Oh, fermentation. 20 days fermentation in the concrete.
In the concrete.
Yeah, 20 days in there. We do a short fermentation. We actually lost all 2017 Cabernet.
What?
Yep, there will not be a 2017 vintage of Cabernet.
Wow.
That was the year of the fire, and everything got stuck in the tanks, and they had no power, so no temperature control, and no way to get up the hill. So nobody could. And
I remember reading Jimmy writing about that.
And after that, Braden moved here, because before that, Braden didn't live here. And so no one could get up here. And now Braden lives here. And but yeah, nobody could get here, and they were just it was mud. So it's undrinkable. We'll maybe keep some cases just for posterity to say, hey, this was the year of the fire, but it will never be sold ever. Well, but thankfully we have 2007 in abundance, which will be fantastic to release at that time. Because normally we do a 5-year and a 10-year. And
7 was a plentiful vintage. Yes, I love this.
there we go. So pretty neat.
Yeah.
We can hop down here because it's kind of neat.
This is very cool down here. The wines are, well, here, I'll let them tell you inside what the wines are like.
This is
96?
You had the right.
96. Leather saddle, Chinese 5-spice, fennel.
Focus on texture, weight, and viscosity.
Like this doesn't make your palate tired. This is interesting. It's lively.
It's long too. That the tannins just kind of creep in and they just like, boom, like they spread out. They're not like
They're not
they don't hit
super
you in the
gritty.
face.
Yeah.
The initial inclination is going to be
12.
to call this Bordeaux in style. Don't go there.
I don't know. I don't think I would call Bordeaux just because I get primary fruit.
There's a lot of ripe fruit here.
Yeah.
But
So-
not in a slutty way.
A lot of people go for. I actually always refrain from telling people my tasting notes because I want people to have their own experience. And a lot of people say Bordelais in style, so I'm actually really glad that you don't say that.
If you're gonna go there, if you're gonna compare it to another region, which I hate doing, if you're gonna go there, you go Italian
Rioja.
or Rioja,
Yeah. You could say Rioja for sure.
This is lovely.
especially with all your leathery.
And the tannins,
Tannin
like
quals.
they don't take away from the wine; they actually add to it. So that's how long it takes to get there.
I don't think it's there. I think these
No,
wines.
it's super fresh,
But
but
you know
like-
what I mean? Like, I just think these wines are kind of like the Tongi wines. Like, they
built
just,
to age.
they truly want 20, 30, 40 years of age before they're
have this?
like,
You'll really see it.
What
do.
gives you that indication though when you taste this wine?
gives me
so
what indication?
fresh.
That it's not,
that it's got like
based on what I have tasted older.
When you it'll become more apparent too as you taste the 01 and the 04, which becomes more and more apparent that they all could use like 10, 15, 20 years more time. It's like
Which is
they can
great.
go.
Which is great.
It's great. It's great, and it's not great at the same time because
For
people-
sales.
For sales,
Yeah. Ooh, sexy.
There's such a freshness to these wines that just exists in pretty much every vintage. Like when you're talking about the consistency stylistically vintage to vintage, like if you had to assign one word, fresh is always the one that I go to.
And would you call 96 for vintage? I mean, I can't see like color as much as I want. I wouldn't call 96. I mean, I don't have the breadth and the depth of experience with Old Napa Cab.
Yeah.
You know, you go with, you'd be like, oh, you get all the Bordeaux things. You'd be like, no, with the fruit though, you're still getting primary fruit. It's just, it's drying out, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And if you're between Old World and New World, that's what I would, well, what's the quality of the fruit?
Yeah.
Is it sweet? Do you still get sweet, ripe fruit, even with all the secondary and tertiary? I don't know if I'd be like, 96. I really don't. I'd be like, oh, I don't know, maybe like 2002. Like, no. You know what I mean? You wouldn't.
Wait till you taste it.
Wait till you taste
it. Yeah.
They do actually do tastings here, so if you're visiting Napa Valley and want to do a tasting, I highly recommend getting up here and scheduling. You can't just come up here. This place is way up in Mount Veeder, so make sure you book yourself an appointment. And they do have a tasting room down in Napa now if you just want to pop in and taste the wines, which I highly recommend. So thank you so much for following, and here's to the next day.